Hi everyone, it's Graham from Dent Detail. Today this repair is on a Audi RS4. I think a gate swung open and hit this here right on the quarter panel body line. There's a few scuffs and scratches in it which you can just make out, but they're not going to stop us taking this dent out. The customer knows about them, he's pointed them out. We're going to give it a flat and polish after the dent is out, but it's not concerning him in terms of getting the dent fixed. He doesn't want to get this painted despite the marks being in it. He just wants the big horrible dent taken out, and we're going up for sale after that. So you can see body lines pushed in right on the top of that there. It's deep just above it, and looking at the reflections, crown up the top, crown back down on this side here. We're going to do this all with glue. Another secondary ripple at the top of that section there. But yeah, we're going to take this all out with glue, take everything out from the outside. Even with damaged paintwork like that, it's not bad in the dent, but it won't stop us pulling this out. There might be a grommet hole underneath the arch, but we're planning to take this all out with glue anyway. There's nothing there saying that we can't do it, so we'll get going and see what we can do.
First we'll look at the damage through the LED fog board, and we can really see what we're working with here. You can get a good idea of how the damage all is, but once you've got it under the light you can see everything. You can see where all the ripples are, where the crowns are, how deep the actual damage is. And looking at that there, you can see how far it's stretched. It's stretched right up to the body line that's running across the panel, and you can see the ripple that's just on the far side of it there. As this dent removal is going to be a full glue pull repair, we'll be using the Keco 6E process. Carrying out a repair like this for a glue pull repair will give you solid pulls every single time. The first part of the process is check. So checking is involving what the panel's made of, basically. So we've done this previously and the panel is made out of steel. The second C is choose. Now choose is choosing the tab which fits the dent. So as you can see here, we're starting off on the body line, so we've chose one of the curved tabs which fits into the dent. You've got to make sure your tab fits into the dent. If you pick an oversized tab, you're going to pull out way more than you need to. Make more work for yourself. The third C is clean. So this is one of the most important parts. Cleaning involves cleaning the panel and cleaning the tab we'll be using. So again, previously to all this work, we've polished up the full panel. Any sort of cutting compound will do the job. Quick polish, dry it off, wipe it off nice and clean, and then we'll spray it with 99% alcohol. So that's the case of both the panel and the tab. So we'll clean the panel off, flash it off with a heat gun, and then clean the tab off itself. That'll give us the best adhesion. The fourth C is coat, which is pretty self-explanatory really. Coat is coating the tab with the glue. When you're coating the tab, you want a nice even bead running along it all, covering it. You don't want any gaps, you don't want any bubbles. This will just not give us the best bond and adhesion between the tab, the glue and the panel. One thing to always make sure the glue is coming through piping hot. When you're loading the tab up, you want to make sure you're seeing smoke coming from it, so we know it's activated on the inside properly. When you're placing it, try not to squeeze it down too much. If you squeeze it down, push it down into the panel, you're going to compress all the glue out the sides and you won't be that much glue left on the inside. Again, that's not going to help with a good bond once it has set. As you can see here, we're checking the temperature, which is just about 20 degrees, which is a good temperature to pull steel. If it was aluminium, we'd be wanting to pull it around between 26 and 29 degrees. The ambient temperature today here was pretty normal. It wasn't dry, it wasn't rainy, it was pretty standard weather. So always check on the humidity well. If you're on a cold day, obviously the heat's going to drop quicker, so bear that in mind. keep the heat pumping in there if you need to, but 20 degrees of steel is pretty good. The 5C is correct. Correct is just the process of pulling the dent. So as you saw first, we used a slide hammer. We wanted to get that body line moving. Could have used a puller or a KB Junior, but the body lines on these are quite stubborn. I wanted to get that moving up as quick as I could, really, taking the pressure off and unlocking some of the pressure that was kept in there. The 6th and final C is continue. So we've made a pull. After that, we can do a bit of knocking down if we needed to, or we can carry on pulling. So every time we are making a pull, we're just making sure we're following the rest of the process, checking the tab, cleaning it, coating it, continue, and this will just be followed out all the way until we've actually finished the full repair. Today we're doing a bit of knocking down. Knocking down helps release the pressure that causes by the dent. When a dent gets pushed in, it'll push metal upwards and outwards away from the dented area, so this all needs to be tapped down flat and moved back into the dent. We'll explain this a little bit more in detail later in the video.
Here you can see we've moved on to a curved dead centre ice tab. Just below that body line, it's a little bit sharper, so I want to get that moving out before we start doing the rest of the bigger damage. It's tougher to pull out on these body lines, especially below them, so using a dead centre has got a bit more force behind it. It should hopefully pull that little stubborn area out, then we can move back onto the bigger area.
Here you can see knocking down in a bit more detail. When a dent happens, it will push crowns and ripples outwards and away from where the dented area is. Best way I describe this to customers is if you get an empty can of Coke, for example, and squeeze the middle of it, the edges will pop outwards. So those edges, sharp edges, are the crowns. They need to get pushed back in to fill where the dent is. To do that, we knock down, we use the light to see the high spots, and we'll use that to knock the dented area back in.
So we're about halfway through here at this point. It's moving out quite nice, to be honest. You can see the scuffs and the scratches there. They're obviously not stopping us pulling it out. Bit of shaping to do on that bottom edge. Body line's moved up quite nice. Just need to sort of flatten out the rest of them ripples along the top. You can just about see a few shadows here and there. A few little low bits, a few little high bits. Just a case now of getting that as flat as possible to get the job as nice as we can, but yeah, it's coming out nice and we get a good job out of it.
final stage like this now, we just want to pick out the details. One way to do that is not over pulling. If we're just trying to pull out some of the tiniest little low spots, we don't want to be snapping the puller all the way out, creating more high spots to tap down. So you see here, we're just pulling it and releasing before we snap it. So we can just take the tab off now, as usual, the isopropyl alcohol in the heat gun, and there's less tapping down to do. So here's the finished repair, and we've got a pretty good result. The body lines all been pulled back to shape, the big deep dents have been pulled out. You can just see a slight wave below that body line where the stretching was. We can zoom in here, we can still see the scratches. Paintwork's all held up great. If this was going to be going to a paint shop now, they've got a really quick and easy job to do. The customer didn't do that, they kept the car as it was, and a really good push to paint. So even with paint damage, we can still do glue pull repairs. So, thanks for watching.